Every empire leaves behind a trail of shadows. Some built on dreams, others built on greed. But when the oil runs black, so does the soul. The screen glows with distant lights of oil rigs at sunset. Their metal towers stretch like dark skeletons. Against the sky, silent but powerful, standing as monuments of ambition. The narration begins in a calm, steady tone, each word soaked in tension. They thought the storm had passed. That the lies, the betrayals, the secret deals buried deep in the dirt would stay hidden, but power never sleeps. Greed never rests, and those who play the game can never walk away. The sound of faint winds pushes against the silence. Images flicker, a faceless hand signing a contract in a dimly lit office, an oil pipeline snaking across barren land, newspaper headlines fading in and out, scandal in the oil fields. Families torn apart by fortune. Power shifts in the energy war. The narrator lowers their tone, leaning into the audience's imagination. In Season 1, we saw how far men would go to control the land, how easily trust can be broken, how quickly loyalty turns to dust when money flows like oil, but this was only the beginning. What comes next will shake not just the ground beneath their boots, but the very lives they swore to protect. The camera zooms slowly on an abandoned oil field, the rig silent, dripping black into the dirt like blood. The mood is heavy, suffocating. The soundtrack hums with low strings, vibrating like a warning. They said the land was cursed, that no man could take from it without paying the price. But curses don't scare those who see the world as theirs to own. What scares them is each other. Quick flashes cut across the screen, faces blurred in shadows. An envelope of cash sliding under a door, a lone truck driving down a deserted highway. Each image feels like a secret, something the audience was never meant to see. The narration grows sharper, pulling the viewer deeper. Every lie leaves a trace. Every deal demands a debt, and every shadow hides a hand waiting to strike. As the rigs roar back to life and the money starts to flow again, one truth will rise from the dirt. In the race for power, no one is safe. The final shot of the section is a single flame burning in the darkness, small but fierce, as the narrator's voice cuts through the silence. This is not just a story of oil. This is the story of what men become when greed owns their soul. The screen goes black, and only the sound of a slow heartbeat remains. Echoing in the dark, the heartbeat from the previous section fades into silence. Then a single sound cuts through the dark, the sharp clang of a gavel striking wood. The camera shows a faceless silhouette standing in a courtroom, the scene drenched in shadows. The narrator's voice returns steady and cold. Every empire attracts new kings, and every throne invites another hand reaching for it. The screen shifts into rapid images, a briefcase snapping shut, faceless men shaking hands in a glass tower, a contract sliding across a polished table. Each shot is cut short, leaving only fragments, clues of something bigger, something dangerous. The oil fields are no longer just about land and drilling. They have become weapons, tools to buy influence, to bend laws, to shape futures, and those who were once outsiders are now stepping inside. The music grows louder, urgent, with pounding drums like distant thunder. The camera sweeps across faceless figures in dark suits, gathered around glowing maps. Their hands point at territories, pipelines, and bank accounts. None of their faces are shown, only shadows, gestures, movements that drip with authority. There are new players now. Politicians, billionaires, even criminals dressed as businessmen. Each one hungrier than the last. Each one willing to tear apart anyone who stands in their way. The visuals cut to an oil rig at night, lit by harsh floodlights. Workers move in silence, their silhouettes stretched across the ground. The sound of machines roars like a beast awakening. In the background, faceless investors watch from afar, safe in their towers, untouched by the dirt, untouched by the blood. But power is never free. Every deal comes with strings, and every handshake carries a hidden knife. And while the Landman fight for control, the world around them begins to shake. The screen flickers with images of protests, faceless crowds holding signs, Flames rising against the dark sky, sirens echoing in the distance. The narrator's tone grows sharper, almost cutting. When greed rises, the people rise too. They fight for justice, for survival, for a voice drowned out by oil and money. But the ones in power, they don't see faces, they see numbers. And, numbers can always be bought. The music intensifies heavy drums, echoes of chains rattling, a metallic hum that feels suffocating. The camera zooms in on an envelope of cash sliding across a table. A faceless hand takes it, closes the drawer, and locks it with a click. Beneath the boardrooms and the courtrooms, there are secrets buried deeper than oil. Secrets that can ruin families. Secrets that can destroy lives. And those secrets are worth more than any barrel of crude. Suddenly, the visuals shift to a lonely desert road at night. A black SUV speeds down, headlights slicing through the darkness. The narrator's tone drops to a whisper, as if confessing something forbidden. They thought they could control the land. But now, the land is controlling them, and every new player who enters the game brings with them a storm that no one can escape. The SUV comes to a stop near a drilling site. A faceless figure steps out, their shadow stretching across the sand like a predator. The music cuts to silence, leaving only the sound of wind. The narrator delivers the final words of this section with weight, almost as if sealing a prophecy. In this world, power doesn't shift, it crashes. And when it crashes, it takes everything with it. The screen goes black. A single sound remains, the faint click of a pen, signing another deal, another betrayal, another step closer to the breaking point. Asterisk, the silence is shattered by the sound of a drill tearing into the earth. The screen glows with the sparks of machinery, the roar of engines drowning out the night. Flames rise from an oil flare, burning against a black sky. The narrator's voice enters, heavy and relentless. Every secret buried in the dirt eventually claws its way back to the surface. And when it rises, it does not whisper. It screams. The visuals cut in quick flashes, a faceless man burning a stack of papers in a barrel, a gavel slamming in slow motion, a faceless shadow slamming a door shut. Each image is violent in its own quiet way, showing the collapse of trust, the shredding of loyalty. Greed is no longer hiding in the shadows. It walks openly now, unchained, unleashed. And those who once played by the rules have learned there are no rules left. Only hunger, only power, only survival. The camera cuts to a nighttime protest outside a drilling site. Silhouettes of people clash with faceless guards, smoke rising, lights flashing. The sound of sirens wails echoing like a warning across the desert. The narrator sharpens his tone. The land has become a battlefield, not just of oil and steel, but of lies, betrayal, and blood. Deals once signed in silence are now written in chaos. Every player, every hand, every shadow is armed with one weapon: greed. The music swells, louder drums, metallic echoes, a rising hum of dread. The visuals shift to a boardroom where faceless figures argue in shadows. Their voices cannot be heard, but the pounding on the table, the slamming of folders, the snapping of pens tell the story. Families crumble under the weight of secrets. Partners become enemies, enemies become ghosts. And every choice carries a cost that no one is prepared to pay. Suddenly, the visuals cut to fire raging through an oil pipeline, the flames twisting like serpents. Workers run in faceless panic, alarms blaring. The camera zooms on a single silhouette standing calmly in the chaos, unmoving as if waiting. Trust is no longer a currency, it is a weapon, and betrayal. Betrayal is inevitable. The screen flickers with haunting fragments. A faceless hand slipping poison into a glass. A car crash in the dead of night, headlights shattered on the road. A mother clutching her child's hand as smoke rises in the distance. A single oil barrel, marked with blood, rolling down a slope. The narrator lowers his voice to a whisper, intimate yet chilling. They wanted power. They wanted fortune. They wanted to own the land. But the land has a way of taking back what it is owed, and when it takes everything. The music cuts to silence. The screen goes black. Then one sound breaks the void, the echo of a gun being cocked. Now, the fight is no longer for oil. It is for survival, and in this war there are no heroes, only survivors. The visuals burst back with fury explosions at a rig. Faceless shadows dragging a briefcase through the rain. Men in suits standing over a city skyline as lightning cracks in the distance. Each cut is faster, sharper, more violent, pulling the viewer into the madness. The breaking point has come, and once greed is unleashed, there is no turning back. Asterisk, the screen fades to black. For a moment there is no sound. Then slowly, the faint drop of oil hitting metal echoes like a heartbeat. One drop, then another, then another. The silence breaks as a deep voice rises, calm but threatening. Greed does not die, it only waits. Until the next hand reaches for it, the visuals return, but nothing feels the same. Faceless silhouettes move through endless corridors of glass towers, their reflections multiplying across every surface. They are everywhere watching, waiting, plotting. The camera lingers on a faceless figure standing at the top of a skyscraper looking down on the city lights below. Their shadow stretches wide, almost swallowing the skyline. The battles of yesterday are nothing compared to what is coming. Because power, once tasted, never satisfies. It grows, it spreads, it consumes. The music swells, low and rumbling like a storm forming on the horizon. Quick flashes tear across the screen. A faceless politician giving a speech behind bulletproof glass. A hidden hand sliding a new contract across a mahogany table. A judge's gavel raised high, frozen in midair. Protesters screaming behind. Police barricades, faceless mouths open in rage. The narrator's voice sharpens, carrying the weight of inevitability. They thought they had seen the worst. They thought the land had revealed all of its secrets. But the land has no end. Its hunger has no limit. And those who dare to claim it will soon face a new chapter of chaos. The visuals shift to a massive oil rig rising out of the sea. Shot in silhouette against a storm. Waves crash violently against its base, lightning illuminating faceless workers chained by duty and fear. The sound of thunder shakes the screen. This is no longer just a fight for oil. It is a fight for cities, for nations, for the very soul of power itself. The music breaks into a pounding rhythm, drums and strings colliding in a violent storm. The camera cuts in rapid fire, a faceless hand dropping a gold watch into a glass of whiskey. A car explosion lighting up the desert night. A child's toy left in the dirt, abandoned as flames rise in the distance. The narrator lowers their tone, almost whispering, "In the game of power there are no allies, only predators." And in this next chapter, every predator is starving. The visuals become faster, chaotic, building tension, shadows fighting in a boardroom. Hands exchanging guns as casually as handshakes. A faceless figure screaming in. Silence inside a jail cell. A storm of documents shredded into 1,000 pieces, scattering into the air like ashes. The soundtrack hits a chilling pause. For just a second, there is silence. The camera cuts to a single drop of oil falling onto water, rippling outwards, black waves spreading endlessly. The narrator's voice returns. Colder than ever, they wanted the land. They wanted the oil, but now they want it all. The final montage ignites like fire explosions, shadows running through rain, faceless silhouettes standing on both sides of a burning bridge. A clock ticks louder and louder, each beat faster. Closer, heavier. The narrator delivers the final blow. A promise and a warning, and when the dust settles, when the smoke clears, only one truth will remain. The cost of greed is everything. The music crashes with a final, thunderous impact. The screen cuts to black. Words appear in bold, burning letters across the darkness. Landman Season 2 -2025. The next chapter of Power and Greed. The last sound is not music, not voices, not fire, just the echo of a heartbeat, slowing, fading, until nothing remains.